Welcome to Success in Business, where entrepreneurs gather together to share their nuggets of wisdom. And today we'd like to welcome guest Alejandro Tornato. Welcome, Alejandro.
Well, Stacy, what I tell you, I've been looking forward, to this interview or this. I wouldn't call it an interview. This is just a time together where we can find out things about how to perhaps make the world a much better place, isn't it?
Yes, yes. And let's tell everyone a little bit about your background. So Alejandro's an international speaker and a leadership coach. So his teachings and communication style, it connects individuals and groups from all backgrounds. And he's so open and caring and kind that whenever you talk to him, you just feel encouraged and you feel like you are safe and that you can just be yourself. Like, he's just so amazing that way. He's a published author. He's the host of a couple of different podcasts, right, over the years. And he does personal and leadership topics in his publishing. So he's developed numerous magazine articles specifically on personal development and leadership. He's done that, and then also created programs and courses that have transformed thousands of people's lives. So really made an impact in the world and all of his different things that he's done. I'll tell you a little bit about his businesses. So he's the CEO of Tornato Speaking, Leadership and Coaching LLC. And then he's also founded a couple of other programs, co-founded the Captor Connection and Empowered Journey. And I've been lucky enough to be able to participate in Empowered Journey. And I can speak from experience that it is a powerful tool to get people really thinking and to grow their leadership skills. So I actually have personal experience with that, which has been amazing, amazing. So, and then just tell us briefly, you're going to be teaching a leadership program at the Georgia Theological University. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, Stacy. It's one of the things that I wouldn't say always, because in my previous life, I worked for a few years in chemical engineering. I am a chemical engineer, but then, there was a time in my life that I said, cubicle life is not for me. I am not a cubicle kind of a person. The walls of that cubicle were so close. I said, I need to get out of here. And that's why I went into the personal growth, professional development industry, human potential, and leadership. And I got certified as an international speaker, coach, and trainer through the John Maxwell Organization. And if anyone of your audience knows about John Maxwell, they should know that this man has over 50 years of experience in teaching leadership and in teaching personal growth and personal development. So having him as one of my mentors, has been absolutely revolutionary. Okay. It really impacted my life. It really changed my life. And so I went from engineering into leadership development. And this program that I'm going to be starting for the Theological University here in Georgia, where I live, is going to be about leadership. It's going to be 15 principles for effective leadership. And I'm going to be teaching that, to pastors, aspiring pastors, because leadership, it doesn't matter where you happen to be. You can be a carpenter and you need leadership. You can be the CEO of a corporation, and my goodness, don't you need leadership? So it doesn't matter in the spectrum of activities. You need leadership. And one of the things that I put so much emphasis into and I love to work with is aspiring leaders, people, young men and women who have in their minds a journey into leadership, who want to get, who aspire to be leaders, leading a team or leading a business or leading a big organization. But you know, Stacy, the secret to effective leadership is not beginning to lead others, but is beginning with self-leadership.
Oh, yes.
And I always say it. So I call myself, and I'm branding myself from a leadership standpoint as the self-leadership coach, because for people to begin to be effective in leadership positions, they have to begin to lead themselves.
That's right.
Otherwise, I mean, they're not going to have a very good ride. And so that's what I want to come along, and I want to help them begin that leadership journey.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Oh, and you got to share with us so much of your background, being an entrepreneur or being an engineer, and then also kind of your cubicle. I'm not a cubicle person. I love that. It's so cute. Just, it's so good. It's so good. And so just wanting to transition away from that perspective, that lifestyle, and then what do I want to do? And then going in with the John Maxwell certification and everything. So great. So we got to get a little bit of a taste of your background and understanding. So specifically, why would you say you kind of wanted to be a coach? What drew you to the coaching world?
Well, you know, having worked in engineering for a few years, you know, engineers are the kind of people, I think that I broke the mold when it comes to engineers, because you don't see engineers that are so joyous and engaging with people, and very open and very sociable, and that want to speak. No, engineers, basically, let's go back, I mean, to what I said just a few minutes before. Engineers, the typical avatar of an engineer is a person who stays in his or her cubicle and it doesn't talk to anybody. I mean, spends 8 or 9 or 10 hours in that little cubicle space in front of a computer doing whatever it is that they do. I mean, the work that they have to do. And that's the typical description of an engineer. Well, that was not for me. I mean, I did it for a time because I love chemistry, and I wanted to work as a chemical engineer. I mean, that was something that attracted me from very early years, I mean, in my life. So I fulfilled that. But then what attracted me to coaching? You know, I realized that a lot of people, whether they know it or not, especially young people, they are walking in an ocean of confusion, and they want to achieve things, but they don't know how to do it. They don't know what are the ways to do it. And I think that either being a mentor to others or being a coach, and I think that there's definitely a difference between mentoring and coaching. I mean, mentoring, you are teaching others based on your own personal experience. That's what a mentor does. So you acquired experience, and then you can help others based on the experience that you've accumulated. However, a coach, and when I first heard this, it just blew my mind, because I heard, does a coach, I mean, if you're going to be coaching another person, do you have to know, for instance, if you are coaching an engineer, do you have to know engineering? And the answer is no. I
No.
mean, you don't have to know. If you're coaching a painter, do you have to know about arts and the arts and painting and so forth? No. So coaching is a very powerful technique and strategy, whether you don't have to know about what the person is doing, because what coaching is, the power of coaching is the power of asking the right and the appropriate questions. Because what coaching does is, coaching is not teaching someone based on your experience. What coaching does is it draws out from the person the knowledge and the wisdom that they already possess. So the coach, what it does is a vehicle, is a tool to, by means of questions, is drawing those answers and drawing that abundance that is hidden in a person's interior. And that's what a coach does. And I truly believe that a lot of people, I mean, they need that coaching. They need to really get a question and then think about it. You see, what coaching does, coaching enables the person to do serious, deep thinking. And like John Maxwell says, you know, when you ask people, bring 100 people and ask them, do you think on a daily basis? Okay, that may be like a silly question, but do you think every day? Everybody's going to say, of course I think. What do you mean? Of course I think. And yet, John Maxwell says that thinking, deep thinking, reflective thinking, is not very common as many people would think.
Wow.
It's not. And most people, they don't do real thinking. They think that they think, but in actuality, they don't think. And I think that coaching is a powerful vehicle to help people begin again that thinking process.
I love that. I love that. Oh my gosh. I value deep thinking, reflective thinking so much. And then bringing that to my clients and helping them to do that and get these realizations, right? So they're thinking, they have that knowledge inside of them. They're just tapping into it. And then when they get these realizations, these aha moments, it's the most rewarding thing as a coach to see your clients just go eyes open. Oh my gosh, I never thought of it that way. And it's all coming from them, their wisdom. I agree with you about coaching. It is so powerful.
And yes, Stacy. And the other thing that that I want to add onto that is that coaching, the ideas come from the client. You are not telling them, for instance, instead of just telling them to do something, you ask the question so they can think, I mean, would I do this? Okay. And so those aha moments, those incredible moments, is because they take ownership of their own thoughts. You are not putting thoughts into their minds. They are coming with their own thoughts. And because they do that, they take powerful ownership of that. And that is a great not byproduct, but a great product of the process of coaching. I mean, that relationship.
Yes. Oh, so great. So if our listeners were thinking, I want to find a coach like that, but I'm not sure like how it works or whatever, like can you kind of help someone who's on the fence about coaching decide, and then kind of what steps they could take?
Sure. I think, well, I mean, you are a coach yourself, and you know that most people, I mean, when they hear the word coaching, You know what I think that they think, the very first thing that that comes into their mind, coaching, big bucks, coaching, very expensive.
Yes.
But no, but coaching, you know, helping someone decide in coaching is, of course, I mean, we cannot force people to get into coaching, but persuading someone is just by initiating, connecting with them, talking to them, and finding out through conversation, and of course, asking the right questions even before you start the coaching process.
Yes.
Is the only way that you're going to know whether that person is ready for coaching or not, or is asking those questions, and says, well, perhaps, I mean, how are you feeling, I mean, at work, or what is going on with you or your life? I mean, what? And so when you let people talk to you, when you develop that rapport, when you develop that trustworthiness, in any relationship, I think that whether it is a social relationship or a professional relationship, we need to develop a level of trustworthiness, you know, because we heard that people do business with people that they like and they trust.
Yes.
Okay, so we have to be likable, I mean, and we have to be trustworthy. Is not that you cannot come across that you're going to benefit from my coaching because I'm going to get a lot of money. No. That's not, because that doesn't work. Is the coach is not about the coach. I mean, when you establish a coach-coachee relationship, it's all about the other person. You are not the star. The other person is the star.
Yes.
Okay. And when we understand that, then we can come to that relationship from the right angle, from the right perspective. And I think that once you talk to a person, once you learned where they are, and perhaps, I mean, what are some of the difficulties that they're experiencing, you can tell them that perhaps, I mean, coaching could be a good vehicle, a good tool, so that they can get perhaps clarity on how to proceed. Perhaps if they don't know how to decide on certain things, I mean, a coach can come along, and not that is going to give them the magic formula or the secret, but they're going to help them get that clarity themselves. I mean, help them to reflect, to think, perhaps in some cases to think outside of their boxes.
Yes.
Because most people, they think that they think, and perhaps in some cases, some people's boxes are very small. Some people's boxes are maybe huge. But even if they're huge, you see what happens, Stacy? Perhaps the answers are even outside of that huge box.
Yes.
And so the coach can help them. Hey, listen, I know perhaps your box, your thinking box is quite comfortable.
Yes.
But perhaps let's get into the uncomfortable zone and see what happens. You see, just take your client to begin to walk in uncomfortableness, because, I mean, we know, and you know as well as I do, that most of us, and we are included, we like sometimes comfort, and we like to be in a comfortable zone. I mean, where no one shakes the boat. Okay, I mean, we don't want anybody to shake the boat. But sometimes the coach asking questions is going to be shaking your boat. And it's good, because some people, they need their boat giving it a good shake in order to perhaps wake some idea that was really deep inside of them. And so I think that developing trustworthiness, having good conversations, letting them know that you can help them, even sometimes, not all the times, but sometimes, and I have done it, perhaps just do maybe 1 or 2 sessions without charge, so they begin to understand what the coaching process is, and so that way maybe they feel a little bit more at ease with that, and so you are just lifting the veil of coaching from their eyes, and they can see clearly what are the benefits of it.
So tell us about a coaching experience that you had, like a success story.
Oh my goodness. Well, there was this person. As a matter of fact, I mean, he was an engineer. He was an engineer, and not someone whom I worked with. I mean, someone I didn't know. And so this person wanted to transition from engineering to do something, I mean, to start something himself. Okay. I mean, and so, but he was, I mean, it was like, and this is something that I remember I said to him in one of the when I started coaching, in one of those coaching sessions. I said, I'm not going to mention his name, but let's, for the sake of arguments, I said, hey, Richard. Okay, his name was not Richard, but it says, hey, Richard, listen, I know that you're struggling, you were thinking about it, but you're not sure, and so forth. And I said, follow me with this illustration and tell me if this resonates with you. I said, you know baseball, don't you? And he says, yes, I know baseball. I mean, you know how to play baseball. Okay, that's good. So let's say that you are on first base. I mean, you just went, boom, you went to first base. You are standing there on first base, very excited about it. And you see in front of you, you see second base. There is second base. And you really want to grab it. You really want to steal it. You want to go with it. But you are very attentive of the game and so forth. But you're not start running for second base. Is because you're anchored. You got your foot still on first base. And you are not going to second base because you're still on first. The only way that you are going to get clarity on what you want to do, on maybe looking at different options, maybe is once you remove your foot from first base and you get ready to just go. I mean, whether, and that's the, whether you steal second base or not, that's not the main point. But the main point is that you got out of first and you went for second.
Nice.
And once you do that, you got 95 or 98% that you're going to steal second. But even if you don't, at least you tried it and you went for it. And that is going to revolutionize, I mean, your life. And so we kept on coaching and so forth. And he actually, yes, I mean, he left the place where he was working, and the last thing that I heard is that he had started, a venture himself, and he was doing, pretty good. He was doing very good. So it was all that mindset, all those perhaps limitations, those limiting beliefs that what happens, when you start asking, what happens if you never do it? So it's not what happens if I leave or if I start. No, I'll do it and then I'll deal with the consequences.
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's, but yes, I mean, it's very rewarding. I mean, when you see people, I mean, that they begin to take real ownership of their life, and to begin doing things perhaps in a way that they had never thought of before.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. Oh, I love that you shared that story, and I love the baseball analogy. You got into it. I was like so excited. It was really great. I love it. But it's so true, right? That's so true. It's more about who you are becoming more than achieving that second goal. Like who you are becoming. You are the person who achieves that second goal. That is what's powerful. I love that. I love it.
You know, and that's it. Because once you are running towards second, you are becoming a different person.
Yes.
So if you actually steal second, if you get onto second base, the person that you are on second base is definitely not the same as the person who was on first base.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Totally do. And that's how we grow. You know, that's one of my mentors used to say, what is the purpose of having goals? What is the purpose of having goals? And everybody, we were in a training, and everybody raised their hands and says, I know. I mean, well, what is it? It says, well, I mean, it's achieving the goal. I mean, why are you going to have a goal? I mean, if you don't want to achieve it, I mean, that's the primary goal and he says, no, that's not the primary goal. The primary objective of having a goal, and says, well, what is it? It says, it is the person that you become in everything that you do to achieve that goal.
Wow.
It's not actually achieving the goal, but is who you become, because in that journey, you become a completely different person.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Exactly. So tell us a little bit about the things that you've written. You co-authored some books, and you have some magazines, like kind of magazine articles. Kind of tell us some of the things that you've written, and then maybe we can find them. Like we could put some links of how to find them.
Sure. Yes. Well, I co-author 2 books. One book is an ebook. I mean, you can find it on my website. It's called Create Terrific Teams, and that was I think that we wrote that book. I believe that was during the pandemic, because you know, I mean, we went to meeting in person to meeting virtually. I mean, it was, and so it was a kind of a huge transition, and so Create Terrific Teams, I mean, it can be applied. I mean, whether you have teams meeting virtually or meeting in person, and is all of the strategies, all the dynamics of a team dynamics, team performance, and how to create a team that is highly performing, highly productive, and that all of the members of that team work like in unison. I mean, work as an orchestra. You know, I mean, you can see when you go to a theater, to the opera, and you listen to an orchestra, to a concert, and if one of the instruments is out of tune, you can pick it up right away. Can you? Because it doesn't follow the smoothness of the concert. Is out of tune. Or a violin that is, I mean, maybe the whole orchestra is playing the piece, but this violin is playing something else. I mean, you can pick it up right away. So that's in create terrific teams. I mean, we go into some strategies on how to really understand the dynamics of the members, how to deal with conflict within a team so it doesn't affect the team, how a leader of a team should perform in order to get the team to perform at the highest possible levels of effectiveness and productivity. So if anybody is looking, I mean, to work in a team environment, that's a great book. I mean, it's an easy read, but very powerful, with powerful elements and powerful strategies. I mean, to really succeed in teamwork.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very good. Oh, I love it. I love it. All of those.
And yes, and the other book that we just finished very recently. I mean, it's not it's in pre-sale right now, but is not out. Is How Strong Is Your Leadership Chain? And that's all about leadership. That we go into, where does leadership start? And we just go to the very basics, you know, and then obviously, I mean, we show examples of world leaders in history, and what made them great leaders. What were the characteristics of these men and women who really excel in leadership? And so we went into the qualities of leaders, and we conducted interviews with people who were on the trenches, and we have their insights and their inputs, and it's definitely, I mean, a great book. And after every chapter, there's maybe 2 or 3 blank pages. So once you finish the chapter, I mean, you can do some journaling, and you can write some notes on what resonated with you on the chapter. And so I think it's not just a book, but it's a kind of a little manual on great leadership. And then there's a call of action, I mean, to emerging and aspiring leaders on how to begin that leadership journey. So the stronger your leadership chain, the more effective your leadership is going to be.
Awesome. Awesome. I love it. So what do you attribute your ability to be so positive, like energetic, like you just love people? Like, I see the way that you introduce people, the way that you interact, not just with me, but other people. And it's just, you're such a powerful influence for good. So tell us how you've done that.
Well, I can tell you one thing. I mean, one of the great influences that I had is a lady that I just recently met not long ago, called Stacy McPherson. I mean, no, but I can tell you. You know, if you were going to be with me as I was growing up, all the way back in Buenos Aires, Argentina, you would not find the Alejandro J Tornato that you are looking at right now. That's galaxies away. I mean, light years away. Because I was brought up and I grew in an environment where my equation growing up was this: I am first, and I am first. That was the pattern of living. I mean, everything was me. Forget about everybody else. me. I mean, that was me. And so I changed, I mean, and it didn't happen overnight. You know, when you hear people saying, my goodness, he is an overnight millionaire. No, it doesn't happen that way. You know, when people say this is a very successful, an overnight success, is not an overnight success. Look at the previous 10 or 20 or 30 years of sweat and labor, and then you become an overnight success.
Yes.
But most people, I mean, it's not very obvious. I mean, the work that they did for years in order to become an overnight success. But but in my case, you know, I mean, through mentors that I had, through conferences that I attended, through certifications, you know, through the books that I read, through the teachings that I sat under, I think that this idea that if we want not just be successful, but if we want to live an intentional and significant life, the first thing that we need to do is forget about the me and begin to put emphasis on we. Leave the me behind and put all the attention on the we. Yes. And when I made that transition, Stacy,
yes,
my life changed, but in an incredible, wonderful way.
Wow.
Because when you think about me all the time, if you look at the people, and perhaps, I mean, you've known some of these people, some of these individuals who are always thinking about me, and you look at their circle of influence, there's not too many people. Yeah. There's basically they are just only them.
Yeah.
Because no one can stand for a long time someone who is obsessed about themselves.
Right.
But when you when you make that transition to be obsessed about others, as opposed to be self-obsessed,
yes,
then the world changes. I mean the world changes, and I'm so happy. And I tell you one thing, you know, I am a believer, and definitely, you know, when I was about 18, 19 years old, perhaps even 20, I think that God took me out of my home, and a family member was very gracious to say, okay, I would love to send you to England for 3 months to improve the language. Okay. And so I went out all by myself, I mean, to England, and then the original idea was you just stay there for 3 months, you learn, you improve the language, and then you come back, and then you carry on with your life there at home. And but God had a different plan for me altogether. So 3 months turned into maybe 15 years that I spent in the UK. Okay, and it was great because it was, I mean, it was okay. It was very hard at the beginning because I never experienced or found myself completely alone with strangers in a different environment, in a different place, eating different food, some of which I didn't like, and so I mean, it was hard at the beginning. It's like Robin Sharma, one of my favorite authors,
Yes,
yes, normally says, you know, when you want to develop a new habit, is going to be messy at the beginning, but then at the end is going to be glorious. But in order to get to that glorious part, you have to go through that freaking mess at the beginning.
Yes.
and that's what happened. You see, for me, at the beginning, for a few months, it was really messy, but I had to go through that. I didn't understand it then, but I understood it afterwards. It had to happen. I had to go through that messiness stage before I developed friendships and I knew people. And so the whole thing just became such it was my home away from home, in a sense. You see, it became, and I had the opportunity with a friend to travel throughout Europe. One of the places, I have to say, one of the places that I still have on my bucket list is Greece. And especially the place that you went with your daughter, Santorini. Oh, that I have it. But we traveled. I mean, we went to France, Italy, I mean, Spain, Belgium, all. I mean, and I love traveling. So that was, I mean, that was an incredible time of my life. But as I went through that, I think in that process was responsible for transforming me, in a sense, into the person that I am today.
Yes.
Plus other things.
Right.
But definitely, I think that when you interact with people, when you begin to, like I said, that helped me to leave the me behind and begin to pay attention to the we. And that was that transition that I have it even to today. And that's why when you said, well, how do you introduce people and so forth, is because I am interested in people. Is you know, if you show interest in people, they are going to show interest in you.
Yes.
But it doesn't work. Hey, look at me first.
No.
Is tell me about you. I want to learn about you.
Yeah.
And tell me if I'm not right. What is the best conversations that people love to have is to talk about themselves, isn't it? So when you said, tell me about you, tell me about, oh my goodness, just sit down with a drink because you're going to be there for a long time, isn't it?
That's one of my favorite things to do at networking events is when I ask them, I try to always be first to ask them about them first. And then when they start to ask me, I'm like, I totally want to tell you about me, but first, will you? And then I just ask them to clarify something they've said, and that excitement and interest, they remember that. They were like, oh, she had the opportunity to talk about herself, but she wanted to know more about me. And then they talk about themselves a little bit more. And then they're, of course, wanting to have you be able to tell about you. So I've always done that. And you know, what's funny is one of the reasons I started doing that was because I was so nervous that I was more calm when they were talking than when I was talking. That's why I started it. But then I ended up doing it because it was so memorable. It's so effective.
Yeah. Oh, it is. It is definitely. It's and that's the way. I don't know whether it is the easiest way. I think that it is the easiest way, especially in right now in a generation that is texting and emails and so forth. When you have that opportunity, I mean, to be in person or even, I mean, virtually, like us, and you have the opportunity to talk to people face to face, there's no other better way, I mean, to connect, to really connect with another individual.
Yeah.
And connection, I tell you one thing, Stacy, when you really connect with another human being, that connection stays forever. That connection stays forever. It doesn't weaken, or it doesn't get broken. I mean, that is a sure connection, because, I mean, you see, we can communicate, and sometimes communication is very superficial at skin level. But when you connect, you go deep. When you connect, you touch the fibers of a person's heart and emotions. And when you do that, that has a so much power and strength to it that it cannot be easily broken.
Yes. Oh, I love it. I love it. So I have another couple of questions and before we wrap up, but one of the things I love to ask is what book do you recommend or do you give as a gift to other people?
There's one book that I am reading for perhaps the second or third time, and it's by Napoleon Hill, is Think and Grow Rich. and just because in that book, I mean, there's the things that are there, like things that, for instance, desire, things like the power of a mastermind, things like perseverance and patience. I think that there are things that I'm not going to say that they are extinct in the world that we live in today, but there are things that most people, and certainly young people, they don't talk about, because it's not something that it's taught in schools, and unfortunately, I guess, is not something that most families they talk about. And I think that those strategies and Think and Grow Rich is not just a book, I mean, for making money or acquiring wealth, but it's a book, for me, it's a book that is a radical mindset change. And I think that we are living in a generation, Stacy, that we need a radical mindset change, because a lot of people are people who are glued to Netflix, they're glued to Amazon Prime, they're glued to Facebook, they're glued to social media. And I'm not against social media, but sometimes, I mean, when you said, just wait, I'm going to be only 15 minutes on Facebook, and then 2 hours later, I mean, you're still, even, I mean, like Robin Sharma would say, watching dancing cats and people just jumping off the roof of their houses. When you're doing that, then you need a change of mindset and a change of thinking, because and I think that book gives us, in a sense, that kind of a different perspective in life. And because it was written many years ago, when television was not there, and when perhaps the radio was not there, and so people had to read, and people were using their time in a much more productive kind of a way. I think that is a book, definitely, in my own opinion, personal opinion, it's a book for this generation.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, good. Oh, good. I love that. And then I'll ask you my last question last, but before I ask that, tell us a little bit about how we can find you. You mentioned that you have a link tree, so tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, a link tree is just basically a link where, I mean, people click on that, and under that, then you're going to find all my other links where they can find me. So linked tree is like a tree, and then you got all the branches, in a sense. Are one branch could be a link for my website. Another branch could be a link to my Facebook. Another link is a link to my LinkedIn, and so forth. I mean, so that's what it is. Rather than because what happens is, in the past, people said, I mean, how can we contact you? Well, you have to give them send them the link for Facebook, the link for so you send 10 different links.
Yes.
Now I just send one link, and everything is under that link.
Great. Okay, very good. So we'll put that in the comments and in the description, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook or the different social media, look for that link. And then also, so I want to ask my last question, and that is, Alejandro, if you could have a billboard that said anything, what message would you want to share with the world?
Oh, my goodness. Oh, that's what message would I love to share with the world? Never become a professor. Always stay a student. Learning, exploring, investigating, researching, asking questions, having that mind of an explorer, you know, and having that inquisitive mind that doesn't stop learning. You know, so many people these days, they just reach a certain level and they plateau.
Yes.
Because they think, my goodness, I reach the summit of Mount Everest. But then what we should do is, okay, that's okay. You reach Mount Everest. Now let's look for another mountain, more challenging, that you can climb. And so have that intentionality, that determination to keep growing, to keep improving, to keep getting better. And I'm going to say this: always be grateful. Always be grateful for who you are, for what you have, but never, ever be satisfied. Be grateful, but never be satisfied, because if you are unsatisfied, then that will catapult you to go even higher and to go even further. So I think that would be what I would like to leave as an end message, I mean, to this lovely conversation.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, thank you. It was so much fun hearing what you had to say, tapping into your wisdom, hearing your life experiences, and the way that you shared it in such a delightful, funny, interesting way. So thank you so much for being a part of our podcast, Success in Business. And we want to thank our viewers and listeners, and tell them to tune in next time. Take care, everyone.